Don't count the number of times you've been knocked down. Get attached to the number of times you get up.
All right.
Like,
I'm going to get these truth bombs all day.
Right. Boom, 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 boom.
I love it. I'm curious now because you didn't start out, with a lot of money and with a lot of abundance mindset, did you?
Right. It wasn't just not a lot of money. It's one thing to be fiscally broke. It's another thing to be emotionally broken. Two very different things. Right. And I was broke and broken. And in 1994, I had to go get on government's assistance just to feed my newborn baby. I had to get on WIC, Women, Infant, and Children. And I still say it, and I say it often. I was interviewed 155 times in 5 months for my previous book, No Matter What, and it still hits me in the same place. I was ashamed to stand in line with all the other mothers, some fathers, to get free butter, free cheese, free milk, free pasta. But at the same time, I was grateful that there was such a service to help people like me that I knew this wasn't where I was going to stay.
Right.
But it was where I was in that moment. I wasn't committed to take up real estate there, but it was my current address, and broken. It kind of hit I felt like I hit the bottom. Sometimes you feel your back on the bottom, like, I think that's the bottom, right?
And then there's always a deeper
bottom. Right. So when I was getting food stamps, I thought I was at the bottom. Mm-hmm. And then
you went deeper.
Boom, right. I went to the ATM. I ran out of Pampers for my son Jelani, and I went to the ATM to get money to go buy Pampers, and it said insufficient funds. And I had $11.42 in the bank.
What's the minimum? You can take out $20 in an ATM?
Exactly. You need
like
20 in to get 20 out.
Wow.
And I had $11.42. And so I went home, and I had to wrap my son Jelani for 2 days in a series of different towels. That was my rock bottom. And that was because as a parent, all you want to do is provide. That's it. It's simple. I just want to provide safety and food for my baby. Somebody else was providing my food, and I didn't even have Pampers. And I remember on the second day of wrapping my son in the towel, Louis, I put my hand over his stomach, and I said, "Don't worry, Jelani," with tears streaming down my face. I said, "Don't worry, son. Mommy will never, ever be this broke again." And so you talk about having financial resources. I realized that I needed to first believe that I could do something different, that wherever my mindset was, my bank account was going to follow. So I needed to change my mental zip code.
What was your mental zip code then?
Scarcity, lack. I was born and raised in South Central LA. I grew up between the Harlem Crip 30s and the Rolling 60s. I had 3 fights a week to get home from school. My highest grade in school was a C+. In 12 years of school, my highest grade was a C+. And so if you ever tell this story to anybody, don't forget my plus. Y'all don't forget my plus. It's very important to a C student, to A student.
I was a C and D
right,
student myself, so I get it.
To an A student, it doesn't matter. Like plus, whatever. But to a C student, the plus matters, man.
I get it.
So I struggled. Everything in my life was about a hustle. Everything. Nothing was easy. Except the love for my family. That was easy and effortless and graceful and bountiful. But everything else outside of that, it was a hustle, get or get God. It was the environment I grew up in. And I'm not saying that you have to grow up in that rough environment to have an amazing future. People always say, well, Lisa, I didn't have it rough. Could I have Listen, I would have traded my background in for anybody. Don't think I chose that so I can have this. And so I didn't know abundance. I didn't know abundance existed. I didn't know abundance could happen to people who look like me. A woman. Geographically, from my neighborhood, I didn't know abundance can be that. I didn't see it around me. I didn't know abundance can be for someone that was in my culture. Everything was about survival and hustle. So it was so many things. And spiritually, I didn't know that someone who loved God, who had a spiritual foundation, can also have prosperity without being perceived as greedy. I mean, everything in my environment said not me. Everything said not me. If I listened to the sound effects.
Right.
And sometimes you just got to turn the volume down and listen to your heart.
Right. So what was the conversation you would tell yourself during this time when you're in this scarce zip code?
Someone like me can't have it. Them over there, that guy right there, he comes from the right family.
Right.
That girl right there, her skin color's the right complexion. That I'm full figured, a mocha skin, full lips, round hip, kinky hair girl. Nah, not me. No. I get other things. I get a bountiful family. I get great children if I want. I get closeness to God, but I don't get abundance. And I realized that so much of that conversation was embedded in me before I was 5. I mean, it just comes with the territory.
Right.
I would watch my grandmother make a dime go in 20 different directions, and I never wondered about having 21 dimes. I just wanted to grow up and make my dime go in 20 different directions to be like grandma. And so much is culturally inherited, gender inherited. As a woman, you're not raised to make millions. You're raised to either get a good job or get a man with a good job,
right.
you know, and
especially in the 80s and 90s.
Absolutely. And that's how we were raised. Yeah. Spiritually, you're taught, you know, in my background, my religious background, now I'm spiritual. I'm not attached to a religion at all. But growing up in the Mount Tabor Missionary Baptist Church, it was, you know, money is the root of all evil. Well, who would want a lot of that? And that good
who
people.
Wants evil?
Exactly. Who wants evil? And if that's what you say, then I learned that I don't need it. And Sister Brown, I watched Sister Brown, and Sister Brown was the most godly woman in the church, and she was always selling fish dinners and barbecue dinners to make sure she had enough money. And so unconsciously, I wanted to be like Sister Brown because that woman can pray the heavens down. And so then again, I'm looking at that. And then in my neighborhood, it was the moment you get a little extra, you give it away. You give it away. Still to this day, I kid you not. One of my last opportunities, I don't call them challenges, opportunities, is I'm in the top 1% earners in America. And I say that humbly. I'm grateful. And my job now is to learn how to keep it and grow it because I love to give it away. And I know it's a learned behavior. It's a learned, and I give it away to good things. I just put $82,000 and revamped my grandmother's whole house because I knew she wasn't gonna move. She gonna live. That's where she gonna rest in peace. She's gonna stay right there. She's been at that house since 1968. Yeah. She's not going anywhere. Yeah. So I just redid the entire house, gutted out the entire house, and spent close to $100,000 doing it. And I'll do that over and over and over and over again because I also was taught, give it away. So now I'm going to people who are more powerful in money in terms of I know how to make a lot. I know how to keep a lot. Now I want to learn how to grow a lot. Yeah. You know, and being willing and being humble enough to say that's where I am. Yeah. I got the first 2 down because money has 3 levels. How do you earn it? How do you keep it? And how do you grow it? Yeah. And so, you know, I had a conversation for a long time in many different ways. And then it's the conversation as a woman. If I make so much, it's going to be hard to be dateable. That big D word, you know, and so as an African American,
unapproachable now.
Exactly. And men are taught, as I'm taught as a woman about money, you're taught as a man, be the provider. Well, you know, it's kind of hard to provide for a G like me. You know, when I come in, I go, how about we just put it together? Because I'm kind of cool on the provision thing, you know, and so I realize that men have to also feel comfortable with the fact that that's an 80s conversation. And in 2015, she might make
2016
millions.
Now.
Right, 2016, right.
You're in the book tour, you're still last year.
I started the book tour, and I have you have to, at every moment, tell me the date that we're living inside of right now.
I feel you.
Right, you know,
I'm just recovering. Right. I'm finally just like.
Tell me there's something on the other side. Recovery is true, right?
There's a clear voice. There's sanity. I'm not
seeing doubles, right?
There's a healthy body again.
Right, amen.
There's your freedom of time. So I'm curious, what was this moment then that you realized, okay, I need to shift the way I'm thinking, the conversations I'm having, how I'm showing up, who I'm being in every moment, from living in this scarce environment that I've lived in for 20-something years to all of a sudden shifting into an abundance mindset and way of being. What was the moment you experienced, the thought, the idea, the catalyst that broke that?
I like how you say a moment. Like I got the ceiling opened up and the lights came in and the angels came. No.
Maybe it was over time.
Right. There was a moment when suffering became too painful.
There you go.
So mine didn't necessarily come in a glory moment. It came when $11.42 and watching my baby wrapped in a towel. A towel, I felt like I was being unfair to him. See, because 30 days before the towel, I'm really tell my stuff. 30 days before the towel, his father called me, and when I answered the phone, I never forget. I said, hello. He said, Lisa, I'm in LA County Jail. well, I don't do jail, and I don't do people in jail, and I don't do people who have a possibility of going. So how did you get there? Because I met you in corporate America, and you were a professional. How you got there is his business. I don't know. But now I'm a single mom of a son whose father's now in prison. Boom, boom, rock bottom again. So 30 days later, when I had my son wrapped in a towel, I was done. I was just done.
You're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I was done. So, you know, the concept of bankrupt is there's nothing left.
Yeah.
That's the concept of bankrupt. So I like to explain it. I was bankrupt in my mess. I was bankrupt in my chaos. And I was bankrupt in every sexy, because my excuses are sexy, by the way. I've been a linguistic specialist for years. I could talk my teachers into doing things right. I mean, that's just been my gift. My father used to say, Lisa, please promise me you will use your powers for good. And so I was bankrupt in all of my excuses. So if you ask when, it was probably about 3 hours after I told my son we'll never be here again on day 2 of being wrapped in a towel in 1994. And then I said, how? The next question was how? If I'm done with this, I'm not even sure what that looks like. I just know over there are a bunch of abundant thinkers living an abundant life, having abundant memories, with a surplus of everything you need. Because abundance is to be an overflow of the things that you have. Abundance is just about overflow. It's about overflow. That means that if there were a saucer under this cup, abundance would be everything. This tea flows over into the saucer, and I can feed you from my saucer because I have filled my cup up enough. I use my cup for me, and I feed you from my saucer. And abundance is saying I have a saucer in my relationships filled with great experiences. There's a saucer in my health and wellness. I have so much bountiful health and vitality that I can show up for you. There's a saucer with my spirituality that I can pray for you. I can forgive the perceivingly unforgivable and love the perceivingly unlovable. And then there's a saucer for my finances. And that in every area, because abundance is a 360 experience. See, wealth is singularly focused. Wealth is about your money and your possessions. That's wealth. Okay. But abundance is 360. I have a lot of very, very wealthy friends
who are miserable, unhappy,
who are not abundant.
Yeah.
Who are not abundant. They're wealthy.
Scarcity. Yeah.
They're wealthy. They're not abundant. And they understand that. And they come to me and go, Lisa, help me with my relationships with my family or whatever.
Right.
And so I had to learn something different. Louis, I didn't know what I didn't know. And so that became the moment when I said, what do I need to know to have something different? What do they know that I don't know? And how can I get it? And I became a hunter.
So what was the first discovery?
That there's a mindset that comes with abundance, that they think differently. They don't just do something different. There's not a hookup. First of all, what camera do I look into? Is it that one?
Anyone.
There is no such thing as a hookup. I am still waiting on mine. And if you know where it is, my phone number is. So there was no hookup.
Yeah.
There's no hookup. Like, it's not true. Like, you got a 297 million chance in one to win the lotto. And within 5 years, the people win the lotto are in more debt than they were before they won the lotto. So that ain't even a hookup, right?
Yeah.
And so I realized that I needed to change my mindset. I needed to learn something different. And I needed to know it at a cellular level. All that stuff I just told you about, my color, my gender, I had to unlearn. People we're information junkies because we got all kind of access to information online.
Yeah.
And we're learning all this stuff, but we're not implementing anything. Right. I'm sorry, I might step on a few toes. That's what I do. And so I realized that I had to, at a cellular level, first, before I went to get any more information, I had to be willing to divorce and evict some belief systems that I already had. That they had taken me as far as they can take me, and now they're holding me back. It's almost like you wear a size 11, you have 11 foot, and you try to fit it back in a size 7 shoe. You passed that a long time ago, and that's going to be a very uncomfortable day. I was in discomfort. Right. I was very uncomfortable with my thinking. And so I started diving into books. The first book I dove into was Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it disrupted me. It disrupted everything. I didn't know. It was like a double door opened up, and then a wall opened up. And I'm like, what are they know that? Like, why nobody told me that? Like, I felt like I was out of a club. And really you are. I'm just going to tell you, abundant thinkers think a certain way. And they don't go around trying to convert you. Like, people like you and I go, let's open it up to everyone. Yeah. But here's what I know about the human spirit, is that the human spirit has a power of choice. And most people don't want to choose this kind of thinking because it costs you something.
Mm-hmm.
It
What's the cost?
The cost is you got to get up earlier. You get up earlier than the average guy. Your day, what you do in a day is what some people do in a week.
Mm-hmm.
What you do in the mornings is what some people do in a 12-hour day. You got to be willing. What you're willing to do on your book tour to get on the New York Times, some people say, I got to do all that. I don't want to do all that.
It's a lot of work.
Okay, great. Then have your life. Like you sign up for your life experience. There's no way. Like when I realized that I was a culmination of all my decisions. That's like straight with no chaser. That's like getting it with no cookies and milk. I was you're a culmination of all your decisions. And then when you up-level your decisions, and that's even hard at times when you go, God, why am I always single? You're a culmination of your decisions. You're a culmination of your actions. Why can't I keep any money? You're a culmination of your decisions, your life. So I wanted to make better decisions because my son being wrapped in a towel, me having $11.42, me being overweight, my son's father being in prison. I couldn't shake it. I was a culmination. My life experience was a culmination of all my decisions. And it was undoubtedly a hot mess. And so I went, well, let me go learn from somebody whose life don't seem like it's a hot mess. And then let me adopt some of their behaviors. And I began to hunt. I went to conferences. And I was scared the bejeebies out of me, these conferences. I'd never been to conferences before. I went to entrepreneurial conferences. I was one of 4 women at an 800-person conference. Wow. And I was the only woman of color. So it was all older white men and me. And I was like, okay, well, they're not afraid of money, seems like. They're talking money and business and corporations and ROIs and PPMs and term agreements and no habla español. I don't know what that means, but I am not leaving until I figure this out. Right. And I went to the same conference. When I say do what other people won't do, and you'll have what other people don't have, I went to the same conference, Louis, 42 times. I told you I was a C student, so it took me a minute to get it. And I kept getting sponsored back I didn't even have the money to go to the conference. I started volunteering at the conference. I would be on stage teaching because they loved the way I spoke. Then I'd get off and I'd help clean up because I had to pay my dues to be there. I was okay. I ate my slice of humble pie every day because I was bankrupt. See, some people, you haven't pushed non-negotiable yet. You're still optional. I really would love to be successful. And so
I want to be successful.
I want to be successful.
I want to make money.
I want to make money. I want to be healthy,
Yeah.
but it's not non-negotiable yet because the moment the rubber meets the road and you feel a little skin and it gets a little tender and a little blood may show up and you don't want to give blood, you don't want to give sweat, you don't want to give tears. Let me just tell you, you can't take the elevator to the top.
Right.
It ain't nothing but stairs.
Right.
If you want to learn how to make more money and master money in your life, then check out this video right here.
What happens when the money goes away? Because when I didn't have anything, people worked with me for free. And I saw who rose to the challenge. I saw who jumped ship. And that's the process of activating the power of broke.